At least 151 people are now thought to have been killed in floods in central Nigeria, according to a disaster response agency. 3,000 people have been displaced and hundreds of homes were destroyed when flash floods hit the city of Mokwa earlier in the week.
Now to Canada, where wildfires are burning through two central provinces there. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes. Canadian officials are warning of tough days ahead with hot and dry weather forecast into the weekend. The entire city of Flin Flon stands empty except for firefighters and support workers. A little earlier, we spoke to the Premier of Manitoba, Wap Kinew, who gave us an update on the situation there. What's the latest you can tell us right now about efforts to get those fires under control?
Well, when we're talking about the firefight, it's been another challenging day here in Manitoba, in the northern part of our province, in that city of Flin Flon that you made reference to. Late this afternoon, the winds changed and started to blow that giant blaze back towards the city. And it was, I guess, the weather forecast predicting that that was going to happen that led to the evacuation. I had a chance to speak to the mayor and other leaders there in town just as they were about to pack up and, sort of last person standing, as it were. There's some other First Nations in the north, Indigenous communities, Puckatawagan, Pimichigamak, where we've activated the Canadian Armed Forces, the military, to help with the evacuations. Of course, there are firefighters on the ground there, water bombers flying overhead, helicopters dropping buckets of water, bucketing the blaze, if you will. But at the same time, all the smoke in the air is making the evacuation effort that much more difficult. In one community, we're trying to use fixed-wing aircraft, but couldn't, so we're relying on helicopters to transport people out. Meanwhile, back here in the capital, Winnipeg, we've established congregate shelter facilities for thousands of people. As we speak this evening, there's probably about 17,000 Manitobans who've been forced out of their homes by wildfires. They're making their way south to communities like Winnipeg, Portage la Prairie, and others, and we're rallying together to support our fellow Manitobans.
I'm just struck by that number, 17,000 people now trying to evacuate away from these fires. What have they been saying? I mean, how are they holding up? I mean, this must be a very scary situation.
Well, I took some time to speak with evacuees at some of the reception centers, and people are tired. By the time they make it to Winnipeg, our provinces here in Canada are immense. So by the time somebody makes it to Winnipeg, some of them have been on the road overnight. They've had to be on a flight for a few hours and then on a bus for several hours after that. So in addition to the stress and the uncertainty of not knowing what's going on back home with their houses and the lives that they were leading before they were fairly abruptly told to leave and find their way to safety, you have that additional layer of just being up all night and being put into a new environment, into a congregate living facility. Hotel space is at a premium in our province right now because the situation did unfold very, very quickly. So we've been turning to our neighboring provinces for help. The United States of America as well is going to be sending us some firefighters to assist with battling the blaze. And in the meantime, some of the, I guess, more hopeful positive stories involve the fact that thousands of Manitobans have opened up their own homes to provide shelter for friends and family, and many more are donating to the Canadian Red Cross.
Just briefly, if you don't mind, we only have about 30 seconds left here, but 2023 was the worst wildfire season, I believe, in Canada's history. Now we're seeing more fires again this summer. Do you see a way of addressing this more long-term?
Well, the climate is clearly changing. Just for our province's history, typically we'd have wildfires in one region, say east, west, north. This year, it's in every region and at the same time. And then you zoom out nationally, it's not just our province, it's Saskatchewan, it's Alberta, it's Ontario. So going forward, we're going to have to scale up our wildfire fighting efforts, as well as talking about mitigation within the context of a changing climate. But of course, being there for one another comes first.